All right, I think we're live here. Pause that. So, yeah, what's up, everybody? Terminator Juice. Don't have any live viewers just yet, but going to be talking about E3 2018, kind of giving my overall feelings on it. I already kind of gave my review scores for everybody but Nintendo, so this one I'll be focusing on Nintendo and then just E3 as a whole. And then I got a little gameplay I'm going to do for Trials Fusion because of the announcement of Trials Rising. And I'm actually going to use the Switch Pro controller to see how it works for Trials. And then if it works fine, I'm going to pick up Trials Rising on the Switch when that comes out, I believe, early next year, probably. I think they said February or something. I mean, it seems like every game's coming out in February 2019. So, but let's get into Nintendo. I did a live reaction. I gave the direct like an 8 or said 8, 8.5, but it's definitely closer to 8. And things I liked. I liked how it started. Daemon X Machina looks like a pretty cool game. The art style, everything's really cool. I just watching the gameplay in the Treehouse. I don't know if it's a game I want to buy or play, but great trailer. And then you got the Xenoblade Chronicles DLC. You're gonna play on Torna with Jin and forget his girl's name, but that's cool stuff. And I'll pick that up probably down the road. I'm not sure the release date for that if they even gave it, but then the direct. I think it went to Fire Emblem, which is a 2019 game. Daemon X Machina is a 2019 game. Fire Emblem was supposed to be a 2018 release. They reiterated that like a month or two ago. And I don't know. I know it was Active Sin and kind of that group with the Real Gamer. And they're all confident that the end of this year was going to be just, full of games from Nintendo first party. And because I was like, well, what's 2018? What do we got left? And they're, you got Yoshi, you got Fire Emblem, you got Pokemon, you got Smash. Well, you got 2 of those, and one of them isn't the Pokemon game everyone thought. So overall, I think a little bit of my disappointment in the Direct or the E3 for Nintendo is the lack of games overall for this year for someone like me who had the Wii U. And basically 4 of the first party titles released in 2018 are irrelevant to me because I already have them on the Wii U and I'm not going to double dip. So I'm basically looking at the first half was Kirby, and at the very end of that we have Mario Tennis, so that's 2 games. And then after that you got Octopath Traveler, which is published by Nintendo but developed by Square and that other team that made the Bravely Default. Then you got another Mario Party, which I don't care at all about. And then there's a long, Mario Party's October. So after Octopath, I mean, it's just third parties, basically. Third parties and indies, which indies are third party, but it's really dry for first party Nintendo games other than DLC and what do we got? Octo Expansion they just released today, which I'm going to talk about all the things coming out this week. That seems like a little too much, but Smash is December 7th. That's basically 2019. So overall this year for me, for the Switch, it's been really lackluster. And I know Mario Tennis is going to be fun, and watching on the Treehouse, got me more excited to play the game. But from June 22nd to December 7th, that's what I'm looking at for buying first party Nintendo game. So this is Wii U like level stuff minus, or Switch has a bunch of third party games and has a already has a good lineup already. So it's not like there's no games to play for someone buying a Switch. But it's just, I think this is just the overall lineup for 2018 is disappointing to me. Even though Smash can be great, I mean it's 3 weeks of the year before it's 2019. I'd barely even want to call it a 2018 game. Like, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out December 1st, so that was a week sooner. That's the last first-party Nintendo game I bought. My physical Switch library has not increased in 2018, and we're looking at June 15th today. So I think, like I said, I think that's part of why this E3 was, you know, disappointing on some level for me from Nintendo. And I was really hoping Yoshi would be shown and look amazing and be like one of the highlights of the Direct. And then we find out first it's not in the Direct, and then hey, it's delayed to 2019. Fire Emblem actually looks pretty good. Getting back to the actual Direct, my initial thought was, oh, look at this zoomed out battle screen. You know, this looks like a 3DS game. This looks like the Wii game, but then it zooms in and it looks really cool. So that's how you entice me back into, you know, I played Fire Emblem Awakening one time on casual mode, but what I saw of Three Houses is like, that's how you get me into Fire Emblem. Don't do what Let's Go Pikachu bullshit does, and it's like, okay, it looks, you know, visually it looks pretty good, and you're walking around, but the battle system looks so simplistic and so boring. Like, that's not gonna attract me as someone who doesn't play Pokemon. Like, I need to know there's more than, hey, this is just a beginner's game. Like, and then the developer or the CEO guys, like, we don't want to make our games any more complex because they need to be accessible to all players of all skill level. Well, what's the point of Let's Go if the next mainline game isn't gonna have any more advanced or any more be a more in-depth type of game? So the Spook, let's see, the Switch has no major third-party support. Are you sure? No major sort. Getting Dragon Ball Fighters, getting the Crash trilogy, getting FIFA and NBA, which, I mean, that's major. Those are big selling games. Wolfenstein 2 comes out later this month. Starlink, the Trials game. What was the other? Ubisoft. Feels like there was one more game. And then, what's it? Panic Button. Their next month, they said they're announcing their next major port project coming to the Switch. So I have a feeling it's going to be like Call of Duty or something. So that's going to be major. I mean, it's not every game for sure, but it's got plenty of third-party games. And you know, Dragon Quest 11 was supposed to come out this year, but now they're saying that's a long ways off. But I have a feeling there's going to be, just like last year at E3, it was like, wow, man, it's just, where's all the third-party games? And then the next couple months we find out there's Doom and Wolfenstein, and then later on we got Monster Hunter confirmed, and, you know, other third-party games that weren't even mentioned at E3 and actually came out, you know, still last year. So I know there's going to be at least a couple major ones. Like, isn't getting Battlefield 5? I mean, I guess if you care about Battlefield, that would be something. Red Dead, I mean, when has Rockstar ever put a game on a Nintendo console other than the one time? So I'm not surprised by Red Dead. Devil May Cry 5, that's Capcom. I mean, why isn't Resident Evil 7, why didn't that get a proper port? Why isn't Resident Evil 2 coming? You know, it's not getting these games, but yeah, I'm gonna block you if you're gonna just say stupid stuff. Like, most of the games are solid. We haven't had any major, like, terrible running games since Dragon Quest Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2, and it was a Japan only game. That's really the only third-party game that ran terrible on the Switch. So if you just come here to be, you know, a fanboy or something, then I'm gonna block you. But anyway, getting back to the Direct, then they did a kind of a sizzle reel thing, and this is where I think the Direct really misfired. And they highlighted Hollow Knight, which I'm playing the game. I'm 2.5 hours in. It's an amazing game, and that got a little bit of a spotlight, which was great. And then released that day, so that was cool. And what was that other, like, 8-bit looking, Celeste looking art style? That looks like a pretty cool game. But then it's like just Crash Insane Trilogy got 2 seconds. Dragon Ball Fighter Z got 2 seconds. Like that was a big that was a big announcement. Even though some people were leaking it, I wasn't following leaks or anything, so that was news to me. And maybe Nintendo and Bandai don't have the best relationship or something, and the fact that that game didn't come out right away. But why wouldn't you highlight Dragon Ball Fighters? Like, to me, that should have got at least a 2 minute trailer or something, because that's a pretty big title, and the Switch is in 2018 is the destination for fighting games. And damn, my allergies are just really bugging me right now, so I'm gonna blow my nose. I'm gonna mute my mic. Sorry about that, but the Switch is a fighting game fan's dream console this year. And if you don't believe that, I mean, you got the BlazBlue just came out. Street Fighter 30th just came out. You have Dragon Ball Fighters, SNK Heroines, and Smash. And I know there's another indie game that was a pretty cool fighter. And it's like, that's 5 pretty solid, if not top tier fighting games, all on the Switch in the same year. So I'm not huge into fighting games, but I'm thinking I'll pick up one of the others outside of Smash. And so yeah, that's just something I wanted to point out. I don't hear anybody talking about that. Like, all these fighting games come to Switch. And then they, the sizzle reel showed off like Starlink for a split second. I kind of wish Nintendo would have had the Star Fox content been part of their direct and not Ubisoft. I think that would have been a nice announcement for Nintendo's direct. Yeah, but yeah, you can play fighting games on Smash, or on the other systems. But the fact that the Switch has all these fighting games in one year, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. It's not getting SNK Heroines, is it? Or wait, that is a multiplat. Sorry. Other than Smash is the biggest one of them all. So I mean, it's just pointing out a fact that the Switch has a ton of quality fighting games, this year. But yeah, the sizzle reel, I felt like they should have highlighted a few more, or gave some of those games a little more shine. And like I said, the Star Fox content for Starlink would have been great to have been announced in the direct. And then, Mario Party, Super Mario Party, that had no impact on me. We found out yesterday that the mini games there's going to be like a random mini game thing online, so that's cool. If your friends say Smash is a port, then they just obviously didn't see the interview with Bill Trinan on Game Explain, and they haven't been paying attention. You heard it's a port. How is it a port? Do you guys know what a port is? A port is when you take a game and you convert the code from whatever console it was on to the Switch. Smash Bros. Ultimate, the game engine, was created specifically for Switch. All the character models were redone. You can easily tell. Look at Bowser, look at Ganondorf, look at Bayonetta. All the character models were redone. All the move sets, the stages. I'm sure they could port, or what do you call it? Not port. I'm sure there's a way to get the Wii U stages just over to it, but it's not a port. They started and built the game from the ground up, 4-year development cycle. Like I said, all the character models are redone. There's the lighting, everything's new. Did it start as the game engine? Was that based on the Wii U's? I'm not sure. They didn't really word it that way, but it's a brand new game. So there's the answer. It's not a port in any way, shape, or form. So looks great. In the stream I was watching while I was live streaming, I couldn't quite appreciate the visuals. The direct feed screenshots really showcase it. Even even the direct upload YouTube videos, you still, you still see like artifacts. The quality's not there. But if you look at even your local game has been telling customers as a port. I know you're from Europe or whatever. Europe's not a big Nintendo region, so I mean, if you want to listen to them, or if you're just pointing that out, the game's not a port. I think everybody on YouTube needs to make a video because people are so idiotic. UK especially, they just don't like Nintendo. It's not a big place for Nintendo, I should say. It's not a big region. It's a PS4 region. But anybody who thinks it's a port just is, ignorant, because they haven't obviously looked into it at all. They're just assuming. But getting back to Smash, if you look at direct feed screenshots, I'm telling you, like, it's not quite Pixar level, some of the characters, but man, they look really nice. I mean, Nintendo already had the Wii U version at 1080p 60, so the only room to grow on a 1080p system is details, character models, lighting. There's nowhere else to go but to add more stuff and make characters look better. That's really the only direction they had to go. They're not going to redo the art style, make a cel shaded game, or make a something completely different. They had to stay true to what Smash Brothers is. But again, once you see that game on your TV, and then I bet if you played it for, let's say, a month and turn on Smash 4, you're gonna be like, man, I think you're gonna really notice the difference if you once you play and then go back. Yeah, Cappy's just cosmetic. As much as I talked about how I wanted characters to get new movesets, and Breath of the Wild Link better have different moves. They changed his bomb, and that was about it. They didn't add, his final smashes are all the same. They didn't add, the champions or the runes. But just think about the Smash community, and they have pro players. If you watch, just search on YouTube, you'll have like Pyro versus somebody. They're at E3, and they're just having exhibition matches, and you can see that these guys, they can play their character and instantly they're just as good as they were. So to drastically change characters, I think would be a slap in the face to the fan base, the loyal Smash players. Even though I got in with Smash 4, I wouldn't mind, but they did change, final smashes for a lot of characters. They did tweak a lot of the movesets, so it's a lot of small changes. But like I said, 10,000 plus, tens of thousands of changes added if you add them all up. That's, every character's back. I don't think anybody even imagined that would be a possibility. I think we jokingly said that on Juice's Loose after Smash was revealed, the following weeks after that reveal. I think we jokingly well, they can't just keep adding characters, can they? Like, they got to do something different. They can't just have everybody. They just brought every character back. Now, if you aren't a Smash player, or you haven't been following the series, that probably doesn't mean a lot. But to think of, you got Cloud against Snake, against Pac-Man, Mega Man, it's unbelievable. And I think there's going to be a few more character reveals. I wouldn't expect more than, I'd say 3 tops before the game comes out, but I'm thinking 1 or 2 is where I'm thinking. And you got Nintendo characters, you got ARMS characters, it could be a potential, and maybe a third-party character. So, but Smash, if you're not into Smash, then yeah, the direct, that 20 minutes is just gonna be like, it'd be like me if they ended the direct with 20 minutes of Pokemon. Like, I would be so mad. So I can understand if somebody who's not as into Smash could watch that direct and be like, wow, that was terrible. But if you watch Sony's, what did they keep saying? They said, we're going to deep dive into these games. We're going to deep dive. And then they show a 10-minute trailer with no deep dive, no description, no developer talking, no anything. It's just long extended trailer or gameplay. That's not a deep dive. What Nintendo did was a deep dive. They went into it. They told you why they did what they did. They showed you the differences in characters. That was a deep dive. Now, whether you wanted a deep dive into Smash or not, that's up to you. For me, I thought it was probably could have saved some of that really descriptive stuff for after the fact, but I think they were preemptive striking all the questions that could have came if they didn't go that deep, so but whatever it is, it was about overall I gave it like an 8 out of 10. Maybe a 7.5. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible. It's just the lack of, and I'm glad Active Sin's here because he was the one, the end of 2018 is going to be great, Juice. We got Yoshi, we got Fire Emblem, we got Pokemon, we got Smash. And like I said earlier, I'm sure that Pokemon wasn't what you meant, and in Smash, and then the other two are 2019. So, but there's a lot of games to play, whether it's an indie game or a third-party game or a port of an older game from last year. There's actually a lot of games on the Switch this year. It just sucks as a Wii U owner that 4 of Nintendo's games releasing this year are ports of the Wii U that I already have. So, but overall, didn't hate the Direct, but it definitely wasn't. I mean, I liked just the 2 years ago the Zelda trailer, like the 3-minute trailer, like that was way better than this Direct. So then we get into the Treehouse. Now I love the Treehouse, and I like what they do. My complaint with the Treehouse, and if I did an AGL podcast yesterday, I don't know when he'll upload it, but the biggest problem with the Treehouse is they didn't even play half the games from like the third party sizzle reel. We had Hollow Knight. I don't remember that other little indie game with the Celeste art style. And then Starlink, and they did like Arcades Classics, and then like everything else was Smash, Mario Tennis, Mario Party, and they did Daemon X Machina once or twice, I think. And it's like, why not Dragon Ball FighterZ? Why not Crash Insane Trilogy? Not that I care about Crash, but why not? What other games? They did Fortnite. They did one Fortnite, which was cool, day one. So it just didn't have as much variety. And the biggest thing, it's not that there was too much Smash. It's the fact that the new Smash isn't like a new Zelda game. It isn't like a new Mario 3D game. You know what Smash is. They didn't, it's cool to see the little changes to, let's say, Zelda or Ganondorf or Link. I found it very interesting, but it doesn't have the same impact of seeing Super Mario Odyssey in all its glory for the first time and seeing all the creative like worlds and movesets and seeing the things you can do with Cappy. So I couldn't get enough of Super Mario Odyssey last year. Zelda the year before, I couldn't get enough of Breath of the Wild. Every time I watched it, somebody was doing something different. And still to this day, people are posting videos on Twitter showing things you never thought were even possible with Zelda. So it's not that it's not the quantity of Smash they show, because it's probably in line with Mario Odyssey and Zelda from the previous years. It's just seeing a new Smash. You know what Smash is. Like it'd be like seeing Street Fighter, that many times. Even Street Fighter 6, you know what Street Fighter is going to be. You know what Smash is. So I think they were probably looking, well, we want to show it this many times. That's what we did for Mario and Zelda, but it just doesn't have the same impact. Like seeing Metroid Prime 4, hopefully next year, they could show that, 10 times probably, and I'd love every second of it. So, and they did show the Xenoblade DLC a couple times, so that's cool. It almost kind of convinced me to get the season pass, watching seeing what the content was. So, but yeah, I think Dragon Ball FighterZ, for whatever reason, that should have been every day. They should have showed that. Yeah, Yeah, knowing that Olimar's helmet cracks, I think they just really want. I think some of it was for humor. I think that was kind of supposed to be for humor, but yeah. So the other things missing, like I said Yoshi. I expected that to steal the show. I still do. Next time we see Yoshi, I expect it to your draw to drop. I think it's going to be amazing once they get past just the green like beginning area. So that wasn't there. Metroid Prime wasn't there. I didn't expect Metroid Prime. Um, the the full Pokemon game. I don't expect that to wow. But what else? Retro Studios still nothing on their game. I mean, we just at this point I'm just gonna stop expecting it at E3s. But for people that jumped in since probably I mentioned this a while ago, Panic Button just announced that next month they're going to announce their next big Switch port, the project they're working on. So will that be a 2017 game, or will that be a big game that's coming out in 2018? That's going to be interesting. I think I just want to end this by reminding people that Nintendo specifically said that E3 was going to cover mostly 2018 games, and later games would come in announcements later this year. So basically their other directs. So I don't think this is going to be it and we're going to find out nothing good or exciting in the next couple directs. I expect the next couple directs to be to have some significant surprises and stuff, maybe even a 2018 game still. So but overall E3, it was a little bit probably less for me than last year's. I still don't understand why people just are raving about Xbox's press conference. I mean, Nintendo could have filled up. They could have showed longer clips of all the third party games, and showed 2-3 minute trailers for Crash, and these games are already out. But I'm just saying, Microsoft showed a lot of third party multiplats. 22 of those 50 games were in a 2-minute sizzle reel. A lot of indie games and stuff. A lot of their world premieres were games you can play at anything. So I'm trying to think of one of the world premieres. Some of them weren't even, I don't know if, yeah, they show 50 games. 22 of them was in a 2-minute sizzle reel. So you're going to count that as 50 games. So did they count Halo as a game? Because that's a game engine. Then Gears 5, that was a cinematic cutscene. So Forza Horizon 4 was probably the standout like gameplay they showed. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3, that's cool. Seeing that 4 different press conferences. I mean, to me that doesn't count towards Microsoft's. Like showing me a game that Square showed, that Sony showed, that's coming to every system that I'll be playing on my PS4 if I want to play it. That doesn't really count that much towards Xbox to me. Like, if you want to give them credit for showing off third-party multiplats, go ahead. I would rather had an hour show focusing on the Xbox games, the games you need an Xbox to play, or a third-party exclusive something. They didn't really have that, Yeah, that From Software reveal, Psycho or Sekio or whatever that name's called, or game's called. Yeah, that was an awesome reveal, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing more of that game. But that's not an Xbox exclusive, so just because they got the reveal, most people will be buying it on their PS4. I mean, From Software games sell significantly higher, and so it's weird to me that Microsoft gets credit for games that aren't even, most people aren't even going to buy on the Xbox, so it's just weird. But anyway, it just doesn't work for me. I actually preferred Sony's, because at least I know that the main titles they showed I'm going to be playing on my PS4 and only my PS4. I don't know why. Exclusives just mean more to me, I think. That's really why I buy a console. I don't really buy it for anything else. I mean, I will pick up third-party games, but exclusives are what get me excited for a press conference from a console manufacturer. So Bethesda's, I gave that a 6.5. I thought that show was completely unnecessary. Rage 2 is my game of show though, so yeah, multiplats don't count for me when I grade a press conference. So, I mean, for you, if they do for you, cool. Nintendo gets no points for Hollow Knight. I mean, it was cool that they gave it that release date was that day, and it's a great game. But does that make the direct? Did that make the direct awesome? Having a 2-year-old game get shown? Like, I don't know. To me, it didn't really count towards anything other than, hey, I can buy this game today. So, I mean, you're arguing opinions here. In my opinion, watching someone's press conference from a console manufacturer, seeing games that I'm not going to be playing on an Xbox I don't even have. So, that's just what I'm saying. You can disagree with it, but you're not going to change my mind or argue your point to change my opinion on how I grade press conferences. I've always done it this way, and I always will do it this way. Yeah, Resident Evil 2 was cool in Sony's press conference, but I didn't mark them up because of Resident Evil 2, because that game's, PC and Xbox. Like, I counted the games that I know are Sony exclusive, and I thought those games, 2 or 3 of them looked really good, and I'm excited to play them. Spider-Man is the only one I'm kind of on the fence, and I think it looks like a good game. I just don't know if I'm buying it. And then Death Stranding is just like, what the fuck is that? But I would rather have a shorter show focusing on long gameplay clips of games tied to that console. So anyway, overall E3 was just a little less than last year for me, and I'm gonna try to remember this next year, because it just seems like every E3, it's almost like every release of Call of Duty, people complain once Call of Duty comes out, oh man, Black Ops 3 is terrible, I don't like the changes. And then they show the next game coming, World War II or whatever, and the Call of Duty fans are like, oh yes, the new game, awesome. And then that comes out like, oh, this is terrible, I can't wall jump anymore, I can't double jump or run on walls, oh, this sucks. And then they show Black Ops 4 and like, all right, it feels like there's a cycle to it. And E3 feels the same. It's like E3, it's gonna drop in bombs, there's gonna be it's like Christmas, and then we get a few real surprises. Everything else we kind of knew beforehand, like Rage 2. Why did Bethesda show that at all for beforehand? Like, to me, that would have been, not knowing about that game at all and seeing it would have even made that an even better reveal. Forza Horizon 4, no surprise, it never is, but I'm saying Gears 5 was a little bit, I wouldn't say surprise, but I wouldn't have bet that it was going to be there, so there was a few things like I wouldn't have counted on that showed up. But I feel like every year before E3 we talk ourselves up for all companies that it's going to be this awesome, amazing thing, and then it's like it never quite reaches that level. I don't think so. Anyway, one of the games I was most looking for, let's just try to think of the best way to word it. A game that I was excited to see the announcement of, but I wasn't like, oh my god, I need a new one in this series, even though I like the series. It was Trials Rising. So I'm super happy the game's coming out. I kind of figured that they were done with that series, so Ubisoft came through, and that game's coming to Switch, which is awesome. And I played Trials Evolution and Trials Fusion, and I'll definitely be picking up Trials Rising. So I'm going to do a little test. I got my Switch Pro controller here, because I've said in the past that Trials needs an analog stick, or analog trigger, to be playable. So I'm going to try playing Trials Fusion with the Switch Pro controller just to see how it goes. Let me move this chat. See how it goes without analog triggers. So this is going to be a bit of a test, and I haven't played this game in a couple years, and it's a very skill-based game. All right, open the damn game. The problem with Ubisoft games. You can buy them on Steam, but then it's got to be, you got to have a Uplay account, and Uplay has to open. So here we go. If you haven't played a Trials game, it's a motorcycle game, but it's more of a platformer. And it's really challenging. So Fortnite on Switch is cool, but not the first choice to play. I mean, obviously not. I have it on PC and Switch, but I'd rather play it, you know, sitting on my couch than sitting down here. So everybody's got their own preferences, man. I thoroughly enjoy it playing on Switch. The voice chat, everything works fine. It's a solid experience. Played on Xbox One X. I played on PC. Played on Switch. You know, it's the same game. All right, so I don't want to, and I'm not hearing any sound, so that sucks. Let's check settings. That's gonna be a bummer. So I definitely want sound. This worked when I tested it earlier. Why wouldn't it be working now? Excuse me as I try to troubleshoot this. Says default. Let's go to default, apply. Well, I'm gonna have to close the game and see if I can't. I'm pretty sure there should be music happening. Yep. Alright, I'm gonna close the game and see if we can't. Let me check the settings in here first. The music's off. Still don't hear it. Alright, we'll try again. But yeah, this, like I said, this is gonna be a test. If the game plays, if I can do some of the harder levels and I don't need analog triggers, then I'll get Trials Rising on the Switch. I believe it's coming out early next year, so. Says it's running. But I do not see it. It's hard to get mad at OBS when it's free. Let's prepare. There we go. Alright, let's get some sound. Alright, I heard that. Did you guys hear that? Did you hear the Ubisoft logo? Alright, I'm hearing it now. So, my discussion's pretty much over. Oh, that's probably why I clicked off the screen. So if you guys got any questions or anything, if you want to just have a discussion in the chat, that's fine. This is one of those games where there is time associated, but once you get past the level, they're not super long. I can like check the comments. All right, let's start with medium. And I'm going to pick the hardest motorcycle to control because I am a veteran. So to get platinum, you need 0 faults in under 43 seconds. Pedro, yeah, Pedro that looks awesome. That was I'd already seen that or heard about that game. I had never seen it, but I heard about it. So, crashed. Yeah, it looks cool. I almost wish it was a Deadpool game the way the character looks. Sometimes you don't want to go as fast. This is all about your left analog stick controlling your body weight of your character. Negative. Oh, I didn't need to get up there. And land. Oh, shit. Landing. I know. With the contours so you don't flip. I love this game, though. I love this series, so. But I hadn't really thought about it in a long time, so it wasn't like, oh my god, I need a new Trials. But it is a great. Nah. God, why do I keep thinking I gotta make those high jumps? I mean, you can, but. So when you're in the air, you definitely want to land with. Yeah. Sometimes you need speed, other times you don't. Alright, let's try that one again. So far, it plays fine with the Switch Pro Controller. But I haven't had to climb any like super long, steep hills. Got it. That's my best time, my ghost right there that I'm competing against. But I'm using the slower motorcycle. Then, ah, damn. Almost got through the end without a fault. Alright, this little warm up. Yeah, people talk about Kingdom Hearts. I don't know, man. Nothing I see from Kingdom Hearts 3 looks even remotely interesting. Like the pirate stuff, I'm like, come on. Like, I'm so sick of those movies, so that probably has something to do with it. But, and Disney's kind of, I feel like Disney's turned into EA, so I'm not a huge Disney fan. But I do like their classic animated movies, but, yeah, let's try this one. I don't know, just the combat, everything about, and I never played any of the others, so it just, nothing looks interesting what's going on screen. Never been that big of a fan of Square games anyway, or RPGs. That's why I'm not. Octopath Traveler's like a potential. Oh, this one I gotta do stunts, I think. Yeah. Yeah, Octopath, I mean, I love the art style, but it's not like, to me, it's, you know, it's a potential buy. I didn't even download the new demo, so it's just, I'm not a big RPG guy, so, you know, it is what it is. I guess if you love RPGs, you're probably super excited for Octopath and for Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I don't understand why Square, even to this day, haven't like started bringing their top games to Nintendo systems. I don't know where that went wrong. I know the N64, the cartridge thing, forced them to go to PlayStation for Final Fantasy VII, but it's just like, I don't know. There's no reason the Switch can handle. I mean, I guess the whole Pirates section on Kingdom Hearts 3, that's something that's just too graphically intense for the Switch. I mean, but the animated stuff, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, but, you know, Octopath Traveler is a nice little, some people would actually rather have that than like a Final Fantasy 15, because that's more a true RPG, like the Super NES era, you know? So, it's not like they're getting nothing. Okay, settle down. Man, it's been so long since I played this game. I used to just run through these medium levels like nothing. I think that a Nintendo fan base would really support like Square RPGs like Kingdom Hearts 3. I wouldn't be shocked if it outsold the PS4 version, if they could get it day and date and it was a good port. But for whatever, you know, I'd like to have the Tomb Raider series on Switch. Guarantee it. I know it can run on Switch. Oh, what is this? You know how I know it can run on Switch? Because Rise of the Tomb Raider ran on the Xbox 360. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out. It could run. Damn, what the hell? This is weird. I forgot all these different modes. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of this level. But, you know, a lot of people said, you guys, you've probably forgotten this, but a lot of people said Switch couldn't handle Dragon Ball FighterZ last year when it wasn't announced for Switch. Oh, look at all those effects. Look at that. Look how fast it is. That can't run on... The Switch can't handle that game. I see footage of it, and it's like... I don't even see the drop. I don't even see a visual drop-off. So, I'm not saying that Dragon Ball Fighter, you know... like a Final Fantasy 15 or anything's equivalent, but a lot of people said fighters had too much going on for the Switch to handle. And look at, you know, it's coming to Switch. So, shit. Some people have short memories, others remember things like that, like me. I don't forget when people say stupid stuff like that. Fighter Z, yeah, Switch can't handle it. But now that it's coming, and people, oh, obviously it could run. No, yeah, I never said that. Yeah, you did. Whoops. Come on. Got to remember some tactics here. Yes, there's a lot of dying in this game. There you go. Getting the hang of it. Oops. Stay alive. Definitely a little bit trickier not having that analog trigger there for these steep inclines. I'll try to tap it. Let's see. Dang it. And this game definitely wasn't designed with anything but analog triggers in mind. Kind of why I felt it didn't come to Wii U. Because Wii U could definitely handle this game. Just gotta work on my bunny hops. And this is a hard, like, classified as a hard level. Then there's extreme is the next. So I made it. So yeah, I mean, I'm not noticing anything major missing. The Pro Controller, Switch Pro Controller works fine for this. So I'll definitely be picking up Trials Rising on the Switch, because I like to buy games for my preferred platform. But the PS4 is going to get some purchases. Well, we don't know when a lot of these games are coming out, but I'm definitely picking up Last of Us 2. I'll pay full price for that. I enjoyed the first game, and I like what I've seen from the second game. Ghost of Tsushima, if that's actually a PS4 game. Potentially could be a PS5 game. I mean, you never know. That looked like a pretty high probability purchase. Spider-Man's probable. Not a huge fan of the Arkham style combat system, but it's definitely potential. Damn it. Get it? Son of a bitch. What? Oh, my controller just stopped working. That's cool. Sweet. Yeah, that's a good point. Hipsters, like, I talked about how I wasn't going to get Doom. It's just too much of a downgrade. 50 hours, you son of a bitch. 50 hours later on the Switch, and I still play it more than my PC version, which I can run at Ultra, 60 frames locked. And now with this Pro controller, I can actually use gyro controls. But it's still Doom. It still feels like Doom. It's just as enjoyable as Doom. I wish the actually wish the file size was a little bigger, so the game audio was higher quality. That's really my biggest complaint. Just a lot of audio clipping on my surround sound system. So Wolfenstein's definitely a bigger file size. That game's not that interesting after playing the New Order. Didn't realize there's so much Call of Duty in that franchise. But yeah, I mean, it's still the same game. I mean, lower resolution, lower frame rate. It's still the same game. So I got a PS4. I could buy Wolfenstein 2 if I really like the first game. I'd definitely be buying 2. But I would consider buying it on the Switch just for the gyro aiming, like, and pay a higher price just to support Bethesda and Panic Button. And if I was excited, thought the game was gonna be really good, I'd buy it on the Switch, even though I had the PS4 right there. It's just the way I am. You know, it's just a single player game, so there's no multiplayer, so it doesn't really matter about friends lists or anything. But let's start over. Doom proved to me that I was wrong when I said that it's not worth playing the lesser version. Come on. So, like, Kingdom Hearts 3, is it really going to matter for a turn-based style game to have potentially a lower frame rate? I don't even know what the frame rate is going to be for that game. Like, does it really matter? I can tell you the frame rate don't matter for Mario plus Rabbids. It does have some stutters in some of the cutscenes or whatever, but a turn-based game, frame rate don't matter. Ooh, nice. I was pretty happy with that one. Shit. And then I gotta start from... Oh, never mind. But I was playing, you know, getting back to Fortnite, someone mentioned earlier, it's definitely a lesser way to play, but I was playing it in portable mode. I mean, it looks great on the portable screen. And that's something I would, you know, consider playing off my TV for, you know, not just for the voice chat, even though you can use the voice chat docked, but I don't have a long enough cord for my headset. God damn it. I gotta keep momentum there. That's not how you do it. Son of a bitch. But Rocket League, that's another example. I have 195 hours. It'll be 200 hours tonight after I play some more. 195 hours into Rocket League. It's 900p with like most of the the special effects, like the particle effects and shadows and stuff all stripped down. But it's Rocket League. I mean, I'm playing against PC, PS4, not PS4, Xbox, PC guys, and 60 frames per second I think is important for that game because the 30 frame mode I can't hit the ball. So that's one where frame rate is a little more important with the online because you're playing against people who are playing at 60. You can't have one version be at 30. Whereas Doom, you're only playing against other Switch players at 30. So, but anyway, the graphical downgrades, do they matter for Rocket League? Fuck no. I think it still looks pretty good since that update. I think it looks fine. I could get it on PC. I could run it at max settings, 60 frames per second. But I'm not missing out at all with the Switch version. So, and yeah, Mr. T revealing his face, man. If you guys haven't seen that, his last video. Definitely not what I pictured, but it's gonna take some time to get used to. I think by the next 2 videos he does, I really think I'll be used to it. But I know, Grimpachi, you're just so about other systems, aren't you? I mean, no system has every game. That's a fact. And if you don't love Nintendo first party, then don't buy a Nintendo system. It's just always been there, that fact, since the N64. If people can't accept that, the Super NES came out in 1990, 91, depending on what region you're in. People are still holding on to the Super NES era where it had everything because Sega was just starting to get into the market and competing in the US, but in other regions, Super NES was the thing. There was two systems out, so of course Nintendo had everything. But now you got 2 clones getting the same third-party games, other than Xbox doesn't get some of the Japanese games. If it does, it's like a digital only. And then you have the Switch doing its own thing, but getting a portion of the third-party games. If you're a Nintendo fan and you went through the Wii U era, the N64 era, I mean, GameCube was pretty good, and you're not happy with the current third-party support, you're never going to be happy because this is way better than the Wii U. This is better than the Wii because the Wii got some multiplats, but they were way more stripped down. And then it got some exclusive versions like Dead Space Extraction, which was cool, but it was nowhere near the original game. At least when the Switch gets a third-party game, it's the same version. Even FIFA with the different game engine, it's missing the story mode, which to me just seems ridiculous to have a story mode, but it's still the FIFA experience. Dragon Ball FighterZ is going to be the same experience. Wolfenstein 2 is the same experience, except it has gyro aiming, so it actually has an improvement. I don't know what more you can expect. If you think you need Battlefield 5, if you feel like you need Red Dead Redemption on the Switch, then I guess you're not going to be happy. But just never been a huge third-party guy myself. Even going back to the Super NES, like most of my favorite games on the Super NES are Nintendo games. And I wasn't even thinking about that. I wasn't even that aware of what was third party, what wasn't. So my favorite Super NES games are Super Mario Kart, no particular order, Link to the Past, Star Fox, I already lost track. What was the other? Super Metroid, Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 2, Killer Instinct, like top of my head, Stunt Race FX. I think there's what two or three of those are multiplats or third parties. So I've always just been attracted to Nintendo's first party games. That's why the GameCube is my least favorite Nintendo system, because the first party games didn't deliver other than Metroid Prime. I thought Sunshine was disappointing. I thought Wind Waker in that state was disappointing. The HD version fixed a lot of my complaints. What else did it get? First party. Luigi's Mansion, that was no, that was like a 3-4 hour game I beat on a rental. What other first party games were there? They had, Star Fox Adventures I thought was mediocre. Yeah, Rogue Squadron was cool. That was a second party game. It's a Star Wars game, like I've always liked Nintendo's games. I've loved platformers my whole life. Zelda's always been my favorite series since the first game. And it's like, yeah, anything on top of that is just icing on the cake. Indie games to me, if you say you love the Super NES era and you're still holding on to that, but you don't support these indie games on any system, then you're just lying, because a lot of the indie games, not even just the ones that make the games look exactly like a Super NES game or look like an 8-bit game, but like Hollow Knight, like Ori and the Blind Forest. If you love Super Metroid and you're not playing those games, then just shut the fuck up about Nintendo needs to be like the Super NES again, because the indie games are the Super NES era. Most of them are inspired by that era. Not just clones, not just copies. Like, they bring their own flavor to it, but it has that same feel. So, I mean, I would honestly, Hollow Knight means, a game like Hollow Knight or Ori and the Blind Forest means more to me than Battlefield 5, Call of Duty. I didn't play Red Dead 1, so I'm not a big GTA. I'm not a fan of that style of open world. So I'd rather play great, like, Metroidvania platformers with an amazing art style. Ori and the Will of the Wisp is my most anticipated game for the rest of this year, I think. Smash and Ori are like neck and neck. So I don't know. I guess if you don't like those types of games, then but if you swear you love the Super NES era and you're not supporting indies, then you just need to shut up, because there's a lot of great games. Yeah, Pokemon games, Smash Brothers is all Nintendo needs, really, and they know it. They're on new Mario Party games, Super Mario Party, as well as some Xenoblade Chronicles DLC. I mean, for sales, to hit that 20 million. But you think about the gap between Mario Tennis and Pokemon, and it's definitely the third-party games. Like, if Call of Duty was coming to Switch, I think that game comes out, late October or something? If there was ever a year for some of these third-party games, they're like, hey, we need to get our game on the Switch. Like, August, September, October, there's your sweet spot there. There's where your game can shine. FIFA's coming out day and date. NBA's coming out day and date. Starlink's day and date. Trials is going to be day and date from what they said in next year. Like, why not? Why aren't more of these games going to be day and date? Like, why do we got to get old ports still? Is there just not enough studios to port it? I don't know. But they found a way to make it work with Xbox 360 and PS3. They co-developed the games at the same time. But anyway, I'm gonna play one more level, and I'm gonna go back to playing some Hollow Knight and some Rocket League. But this was nice to know that this game's perfectly playable, even though it looks like, hey, you're dying a lot. Yeah, you buy this game, and let's see how good you do on these hard levels. Really, all you need is the analog stick, because that's where you do all your... That's where all your hopping and stuff happens. Use a little brake there. Will I have enough momentum? Probably not. Oh, I gotta lean forward. There we go. And if I make faces, I apologize. Oh, going way too fast. Nope. Get it. I'm on a roll now. Oh, shit. See, there's spots where you don't want to go full speed. You need to land short. So, you think GTA is being released this year? I mean, Panic Button's announcing a major Switch game next month, so it'd be interesting to take bets. I'm feeling could be Fallout 4 would probably be my top choice, followed by maybe Call of Duty. I don't know, because they did do Doom and Wolfenstein, so they have experience. But anyway, this was a good little test. For those of you that are just jumped in, I've been using the Switch Pro controller to play Trials Fusion in anticipation for Trials Rising coming to the Switch next year. So, all right. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Thanks for everybody for tuning in, listening to my opinions, and we'll see you next week with the next Juice Opinions.